Welcome to the Tradies in Business podcast with your hosts Warwick Bidwell and Nicole Cox. Divert your phone and grab a brew as Waz and Nic unpack tips, tales, secrets and stuff-ups from guests both inside and outside your trade, helping educate and inspire you to break the cycle of gut-busting and money stress and create a true trade business.
G'day listeners, how are we today?
Warwick, I've just figured out. Good. Hello, listeners. How are you all?
Yeah, be polite.
Just figured out. I watched the big red button get pushed when we use this particular recording app that we use, but it doesn't actually start the clock until one of us says hello. So I'm waiting for it to click over to 1 or 2 to know that it's actually working, and you've already said good morning.
So I wondered why you were silent, because we were just chatting about this episode and what we were going to talk about, and I pressed the big red button and then nothing happened. Well, hello, Coxie's disappeared.
Coxie's run away on a Saturday morning.
One of your sexy slippers must have fallen off.
I didn't think you were going to tell anybody about my slippers.
After your comment about my slippers the other day.
Yeah, hardly seemed fair.
I'm not letting you get away with that one. It is winter in Australia and it does get reasonably fresh where you are up in southeast Queensland.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like it ever gets cold, but there are parts here that it does get cold.
It does get cold for a couple of days a year up there.
Okay, so you are not once allowed in summer to whinge about how hot you are, because it doesn't actually get hot in Tasmania. How about that, Matt?
Well, funnily enough, they had some like 40-degree days down here summer just gone.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, and there were people losing their minds because it was so hot, and I'm thinking, bring it on. I'd love to work up a sweat for a change.
It will be very refreshing, won't it? Well,
instead
in the
of
opposite.
scraping the ice off the windows, and you can't leave your car outside overnight because you can't see out of the damn thing for about 3 hours.
What about your house windows? Do they get frosty too?
No, but they do all steam up,
Yeah.
and it's not because of what you think. So,
Well,
it's just because of all the hot air that I took.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
So, listeners, it is a Saturday morning, as Coxie's pointed out, which means most of you, if you ignored yesterday's episode, are probably taking some time off. Despite us telling you on our ranty effort Friday yesterday that you should change it up a bit and work weekends and have the weekdays off.
Well, how about you just do whatever suits you and your business?
Yeah, don't do what we say.
Don't be tied to the traditional ways to do things, I suppose.
But if you're going to make a change, don't just think about it over and over and agonize and try and decide what's the right way to go and get feedback from 1,000 different people and get stuck in this whole, I don't know, should I, shouldn't I, is it right, is it not? This is my Chucky Norris, Coxie.
I can see you going there.
So, analysis paralysis, Nicole. I've spent a bit of time in the old circular reference loops. If anyone's familiar with spreadsheets, when you put the formula in that refers back to another formula, which refers to the first formula, and then the spreadsheet just goes, wah, no. Circular reference, and it just comes up with a big exclamation mark and a red box.
Sounds rather complicated. I'm not sure whether I could ever even try and attempt that, and that's exactly what my brain does when I'm in analysis paralysis.
But it is. And the spreadsheet just can't do the calculation because you're asking it to calculate this box at the same time as calculating the other box that formula is pointing to, and it's like, well, I can't. How? Which one do I do first? Because one depends on the other, but the other one depends on this one. And if you're feeling confused after I'm languaging that's exactly what happens to us in business sometimes, is trying to make decisions, and we get so confused and overwhelmed and just going around in circles trying to work out how to make the decision. And I've seen a few people stuck here lately. And I won't mention any names yet. It's paralyzing, Coxie.
I have to be honest, it's not something I spend a lot of time in, though I have been there. I probably get stuck there around doing videos for our Facebook people, but that's probably generally I don't spend a lot of time stuck anywhere. I'm a bit of a snap decision maker to my peril,
Mm.
as we have spoken about previously. So I'm really perplexed as to why people do this, because the builder does this. He will be paralyzed by the weight of his decision to the point where he just doesn't make one. And I think it's really common, particularly in tradies, but I think maybe generally. Why does it happen? What is it that is it a flick in a switch in our brain, or is it just the overwhelm of having to be the person to make the decision, or is it the quest for perfection that's not really true, or what is it? What do you think it is, Warwick?
Well, it's different for different people, as with most of these things. I think a lot of time it's the fear of getting it wrong,
Uh-huh.
which comes from the idea that there's a right way and a wrong way
Yes.
with a lot of things in business. And
And
and that in itself, I've come to observe over time, is a crock.
mm.
There is no right way. There's no wrong way. There's just ways. There's all these ways, man. There's just ways, man. You just pick a way. Just pick one. Because for most of you listening to this who've been in business for a while, you've tried a bunch of stuff, you've got some experience. And certainly for the people that we work with, Coxie, they have a level of business wisdom and business experience that I think a lot of people just undervalue the
Yes.
experience they've built up and think they don't know enough to make a choice.
I wonder. I guess this is where success and failure comes into it. And you and I speak a lot about failure, the only failure actually being not trying. Essentially, if I
Yes.
were to paraphrase. So, if you were to apply not trying as your only metric for failure, suddenly you're open to make a lot of decisions that maybe you get too bogged down in to make. They become, okay, well, we're going to give this way a try for a while and see if it works, rather than it
Yeah.
being a death-defying decision that's going to last forever.
Yeah. And so many of these decision points or choices that people get stuck on, they're not catastrophic. If you do something and it doesn't work out, in most cases, it's not like you're risking your entire business future by niching down into one sector of the market
No.
or by putting a bonus structure in place with your two team members and it doesn't work out. It's like, well, don't do it. Or putting your prices up. How do you make that decision? Is that the right thing to do? I don't know. What rate should I be charging? I don't know. How do you work it out? Should I do a spreadsheet? Well, I've already done 3 spreadsheets. And then I worked it all out and it still makes sense to do it. But I'm really worried that half my customers are going to fall off. And what if I can't sign up any more business? It's like, you know what? Just try it. Put your rate up. See what happens.
Well, the worst thing that can happen is that you get a few no's and then suddenly you look back and think, okay, well, maybe I put it up too high and I've got to drop it a little bit. Or you ring back
Yeah.
and you say, you know what, for the week of this, I'm going to offer you a 20% discount. Are you interested
Yeah.
now? There's always a
And
way to
yeah.
adapt and run with what you're trying to implement if it doesn't quite work the way you thought it was going to. And often it's our own lack of conviction around those decisions that creates the uncertainty from others anyway. Whoa, there's a big concept for us
Hey,
Saturday morning.
geez. That's a bit deep on a Saturday.
Well, if you think about it, if you're not really sure whether you should have put your rates up, immediately your language around sending out that quote with the higher rates begins to be, here's my quote, not really sure if it'll fit. Let me know if we need to talk about,
Yeah.
it becomes a little bit negative around it immediately. So you're almost conditioning the client to look at the quote and think, well, that's too dear. You're setting
That's
up your
right.
own failure in a roundabout way, which is far too big a concept for a Saturday morning. But and it probably leads into another topic we were going to talk about another day, but we were a little concerned it was a little bit too woo-woo. It's the way we talk about it. It's because we're not sure that the decisions are right, that we allow that to creep into everything else. And often it can be the thing that topples the decision over rather than being convinced, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to throw everything I've got at this for a month or a period of time, a week even. Gosh, just give it a try. I'm convinced that this is the right move. Let's give it a crack. You sound positive. That's my rates. That's the way it is. You start to sell on your value rather than your hourly rate. And suddenly, look at that. You're converting all those quotes because they believe in your value because you told them you were worth it in one form or another. Now, I'm paraphrasing and simplifying this quite a bit, but so much of getting stuck means that it impacts every other part of your business, including the decision you're trying to make. And when you do make it, you're still so filled with doubt that it becomes almost an inevitable failure. And again, if you were to change the metrics of failure to I fail if I don't give it a go, then you haven't failed at all. You just gave it a crack, didn't quite work. Let's try again.
Yep. And I'm sitting here picturing a roundabout, a traffic roundabout, and just driving around and around and around the roundabout going, well, which exit is the right one? I don't know where they go. I don't know where that exit goes. Where does that one go? Where does this one go? It's like, you know what? Just exit the damn roundabout, drive down the road a bit and see if you like it.
Yeah, give it a crack. You can
You
always
have
turn
this
around.
amazing ability to bust a U-bone and go back to the roundabout and take a different exit. And
A U-bone. I've never heard of the
Yeah.
word U-bone.
a U-bolt, a U-bone,
A U-bolt, yeah, U-turn. Yep, okay, sure.
Mhm.
U-bone,
hook a
right.
Yui, hook a Yui.
Hook a U. All our overseas listeners are thinking, what the hell?
I wonder what Kiwis call a U-bone or a U-turn or a U-bolt.
James and Linda, would you please reach out and let us know? Or Dean and Michelle, if you could please let us know. Or they're the two that come to mind immediately. But
What's
there
a
are
Yui?
others.
Sean?
Yeah, Sean, we haven't seen Sean for ages. How are you, Sean?
Yeah. So if you're stuck on a roundabout in business, get off the damn roundabout. Just take an exit. You can always pull over. It's, you know what it is? I've seen so many people actually do this in traffic where they have a panic attack because they're on the wrong road. And they'll do all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff like turn across 4 lanes of screaming traffic to go back the other way instead of just turning up the next street.
You know what else you can do? You can pull over and you can look in your Refidex, if they still have them, or on your phone at Google Maps.
Speaking of language no one understands, Coxie.
Yes, Refidex, your UBD, your map book.
Melways,
yes.
if you're in Victoria.
Well, there you are. I forgot they were called Melways. Yes, but in business, we can be your Refidex, UBD, Melways map book. You don't have to do it on your own. How
what a
good
bow
is
to
that?
tie
Thank
and put
you.
on the gift at the end of this episode, Coxie.
You don't have to make these decisions on your own. If you are stuck on the roundabout and you don't know where to go or where to turn and you're not feeling confident enough to make a choice, reach out. That's what we're here for. That's part of what we do here at Tradies in Business. We help talk you through all case scenarios and make a decision and just get moving. So, you know where to reach us, www.tradiesinbusiness.com.au, or on Facebook, simply search Tradies in Business. Or you can they talk to us via iTunes other than leaving a review?
No, just a review.
Don't they even have the option to hit an email or something?
No, nada. Find us on socials or the
We're
website.
there.
Best place. We are everywhere, Coxie. We're all over everything, everywhere, all the time.
Roundabouts especially.
Yeah, just yelling at people. Get off the roundabout.
Take this one. No, this one. This one.
Yes. Turn now. So get off the roundabout. If you need some help, if you're stuck in a circular reference, just give us a shout here at Tradies in Business and stop torturing yourself.
Yes, make your own life a bit easier. It doesn't need to be so complex. Get out of your own damn way.
Don't get Coxie started again. Well,
No, I
you got
won't. I'll
yourself
stop now.
started. Have a great Saturday, listeners. We'll be back tomorrow. We're still doing the daily TradieRonacasts for now. So keep enjoying them. And if you need a bit of help to get off the roundabout, give us a shout and we'll come and ram you with our tow truck.
We'll be more gentle than that. We'll gently lead you over to the side of the road.
Yeah, whatever.
Thanks for listening.
Hooray. Hooray.
You've been listening to the Tradies in Business podcast with Warwick Bidwell and Nicole Cox. Find out more about today's guest, tools for your trade business, and other cool stuff at tradiesinbusiness.com.au.